Welcome back to Success Through Connections. This is the show that's all about how your connections can help you propel both personally and professionally. And I'm really excited about my guest today, Carey Cohill, because I met her a couple of months ago at a networking event, and there was just something about her that just resonated with me. And she now hosts a daily success call program where anyone can watch it streaming through Facebook and Instagram. And I set my alarm every morning because I don't want to miss her 8 a.m. call because it is my motivation, my inspiration to get me fired up for the day. So, first of all, I just want to say thank you, Carey, for joining us and welcome.
Oh, so happy to be here. Thank you for having me.
We're excited. So, we're all about connections. And I know a little bit about your backstory, about how you were, everybody goes through phases in their personal and professional lives where we have our hiccups, our obstacles, and our challenges. And it's really about how we get through those challenges.
Yep.
So I want to hear a little bit about your backstory of where you were, and then we'll move into how you got where you are now and where you're going. So will you share a little bit about those days and how your connections helped you get going?
I love it. So we're going right to the valley. I assume your audience, we're allowed to be honest and transparent. Too many of us out there trying to only put on like the pretty filters of life. That's just not how life goes. Life has valleys, it ebbs and flows. And so one of my greatest connection stories is I was in the corporate space for the start of my career. I was in television. I was with Anheuser-Busch, and then I went into the diamond industry. But I had this calling on my heart that I knew I was going to start a business, but I didn't know what it was. I just had this calling on my heart. And I went through this period of what I quit my life. I literally quit my job, the 401k, all the benefits that we're all told that are very important that we want. And actually between us, I loved what I was doing, but this thing inside, I didn't know what it was. I was just getting called that I wasn't supposed to be there anymore. So I sold literally everything, bought a 16-foot trailer, moved out of the Midwest and moved to Florida. I was pretty convinced that's where I was going to start a business, which is what happened. But as I went through that process, Zelda, I didn't have an identity anymore. I wasn't a director of anything anymore. I didn't have a team anymore. And shortly after I moved to Florida, I actually then ended up getting a divorce. So it was like, I wasn't a wife. I wasn't a mom because I didn't have children. I didn't have a job. And I just was like, I don't know who I am. And the connections that really brought me out of my state, because I ended up laying in bed for a little over 8 months with my two best friends being Dr. Phil and Judge Judy, which is a lethal combination. I don't recommend it ever. But I had two great friends named Dave and Kelly, and we started a reading group. And that call that we met every day at 8 a.m. is what actually got me out of bed every morning. And allowed me to not only connect with humans, but allowed me to start getting curious and connect with myself to hear like what was in my heart. Like, what is this thing I'm supposed to be, like, what is this business I'm supposed to be creating? Because I didn't know. I had no idea. But those two connections, still to this day, we still meet, but we don't meet at 8 a.m. now. We meet at 7 a.m. And that's how really the daily success call came to be, was just talking to how many people struggle to get out of bed every morning.
Was it something in particular that someone said to you, one of these two people said to you, that made you go, aha? Was there an aha moment where it's like, I need to get out of bed and get together with these people and read a book?
So I truly wish there was just that moment where it's like, aha, here's the one thing and everything's all solved for you, Carey. That wasn't for me. What ended up happening is we watched a movie actually called The Secret. And I was just starting to learn about that there's more to the world that I had no idea about and had never been talked about. So that reading group came together actually I would say originally it was my idea. But because I was craving some kind of connection, I was craving belonging, and I had no direction of where to go. Like, I didn't know, do I start a marketing company? Do I start a food company? I don't know if you can relate to this, Zelda. I'm multi-passionate entrepreneur. I like a lot of things. So when people say just pick one, I'm like, what do you mean just
I
pick?
run 3 businesses, so no, I know, I understand completely.
Yeah, I'm like, so I was, you could almost say at that moment, I was a bit selfish, but I had just asked, would you guys want to read books together where we could just not only learn new things about this big, beautiful world and universe, but we could learn more about ourselves. And I wish I would say it was that elegant. It wasn't. It was just like, do you guys want to read together? So like, so we can, try to be better human beings. I think that's probably as elegant as it was. And then the journey just started, and we've probably read over 100 books together, and they've ranged from spiritual books, they've ranged from business books, motivational books. We've kind of crossed the gamut. There's some books that we read once and we're like, that's perfect. That's what I needed. And now I'm done with it. And there's other books, we like Think and Grow Rich, that we've probably read 6 times over the last 7 years.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So were they all stuck as well, or not really?
It's funny. It's always easy to look at our friends and our connections and being like, somehow they have it together. And I'm just the only one who's sitting over here like, help. So I thought they had it together. But as we started joining, and I truly believe that God doesn't bring people into your life on accident. Like, so if they were on this call, I believe they would tell you, Zelda, that they were searching as well. So we were all in that space where it's like, I'm playing the best way I know how to describe it is we were all playing by the rules of life, meaning we had the education, we had the jobs, the 401k, the insurance, the nice cars. Like, we kind of had the things that we were told you want to have. But then we were all in this place where it's like, well, what okay, so we have this now, what's next? So we're all in that searching spot, but how we've been discovering our calling, how we've been discovering our next steps has unfolded differently for us all, which is so cool. So we come together, but yet how how our lives have manifested have been completely different.
So when you have this core group from the people from the book club, how
Yeah.
do you nurture those relationships and keep them going? Is it just strictly through the book club? Do you get together? Do you do things? How do you nurture those relationships to keep them solid?
I would love to say we get together more, but we don't, because none of us live even anywhere close to each other. So we do get together, it seems like maybe once every 3 years. But no, it's a daily commitment that we connect at 7 a.m. And it's just accountability. We underestimate that as human beings, and especially as entrepreneurs. So we don't just show up. There's plenty of days that we don't want to show up, but we show up for the other person. And there's plenty of days where we'll get on that call and one of us is like, life is good, and the other us are like, oh my gosh. So how we nurture those relationships, I think, is the best way I know how to put it, is just showing up for each other even when we don't want to, in the good days and the bad days.
That's so true. I know for me personally, sometimes when my alarm is set for 8, I don't really want to get up, but I know if I get up and turn on Daily Success with Carey Cohill, I'm going to be inspired and motivated to get going. So, and I'll say to our audience that there are many times people who are watching you are in their bathrobes.
Yeah.
They're exercising. I see them exercising on their treadmills while they're watching and listening to what you have to say. So it's just showing up, because you never know what little piece of advice you might hear that might be just what you needed to hear for that day.
I totally agree with, like, you never know when you show up for whether it's the daily success call that we host or just whatever community you belong to. You never know when you show up, first of all, what you're going to be able to receive, and then what you're going to be able to give. which is so important. And as entrepreneurs, especially in the business world, if there's, this community is all about how can we fill each other up? How can we all rise together? So then as we go about our day, we're giving from a full cup. We're giving from our best selves. Because let's be honest, some days I wake up and I'm not my best self, but I even know, even being the host of the call, if I just come, I will be a better version of me.
Yes. Yes. I know since I've been coming to your show, I really feel that I've become a better version of me. And the other day I was with my sister in the car and we're driving and started telling her about you and what we talked about. And we got off on a huge thing. It was all about the things that I'm learning and hearing from your daily success. And it was just instead of how are your grandchildren, how are your children, and it was none of that. It was totally all about connections and spiritual things and how we relate to God and things like that. It was just,
Oh, good.
I never had that conversation with my sister. It was like, it was,
But you know what's so good about that, Zelda? Connections, meaning in my darkest moment, which not everybody's in their darkest moment. I was in a dark moment of like, who am I? I was very confused. But the connections of that reading group, literally because we went on, I mean, we started that reading group in January of, hold on, 2016. January, we've been reading every day, Monday through Friday, since January of 2016. But now those connections, that's why what I share on the daily success call, which is now allowing me to connect with you and everyone who shows up, now is allowing you to further connect with so many people. Like it's that beautiful ripple effect that just keeps giving.
it absolutely is. And I don't know who these people are, only one because I recommended you and she's now on Daily Success Program, but they've reached out to me. I had a dilemma a couple of weeks ago and they were like chatting, call me, text me, I've got an answer for you. So you just never know where that support's going to come from. And
So good. I
it's
love
like
that.
you showed up at that meeting that I was at and was it coincidence or was it intervention?
It never, I'm telling, there's always, if you know that everyone you come into contact with is just they're there for a reason, they're there for a season. Sometimes it's just for a hug. Like we don't have to force our relationships, but when we allow ourselves to become connected, right? I think of when I am connected to the power that I believe powers this universe, when I am connected to God as my highest self, I can allow myself to become a conduit and connect with other human beings on a whole other level because you're showing up as a version, you're doing the work I feel like you're supposed to be doing versus just kind of showing up and taking space.
And
Um,
I totally agree with that. And I wanted to ask you has there been a story that you can share where you collaborated with someone, a friend or a professional, and it led to a mutual beneficial outcome?
I probably have thousands, but I know we're on a 20-minute timer. So I'm going to give you a recent one. I love collaborations because I love hearing win-win-win. So when I feel connected and I'm feeling like I'm getting guided, that's what I mean by that. I feel like I'm getting guided and it's a win for like why I'm here on planet Earth in this time space reality. And then it's a win for our clients, and then it's a win for another person's clients. An example of that would be we believe in communities, and I personally and our whole team, we don't really like the world of emails. So we did a partnership and collaboration with one of my great friends who wouldn't let me use her technology for a long time because our company was too small. But now we have been using her platform in a way that it's 100% text message. So when we build our communities, when we connect, and Zelda can testify to this, we don't send a bombardment of emails, or we don't just like type that email and just press send and hope somebody opens it. We use text messages because we build communities that are based on friendships and family, and you don't email your friends and family, at least I don't. You text them, right? So that partnership and collaboration is turning into something that Katie and I couldn't even imagine because it's just allowing, to use your word connections, it's allowing us to connect with clients. It's allowing our clients to connect with each other easier. It's allowing us to build community where then when you're going out into the world, you're connecting with others on a deeper, more meaningful level. So I would say that would be our most recent one that is just blossoming into this
I've
beautiful
got another one
garden.
that's even more recent that you did, and you might not even be aware of it. Was so the other day you had a special group. It was not the 8 o'clock. You said if you want to come, come. It was at noon, and you introduced
Ashley Casey.
and it was like two first names, Ashley Casey, and she is the queen of Instagram. And you, out of a giving heart, you had connected with her randomly because you didn't know her,
Did
and
not.
knew what she was doing, and you thought she would be a great person to bring to your daily success people and share with what she knows. And so that was a collaboration. It helps her because, hey, I'm now on her channel, watching and following her, and she gave incredible tips for that. And it helped you. You got probably more people watching your
Yeah.
show. So that's how it works. And the fact of the matter is because our audience doesn't know it, and we'll talk about it in a minute, is that you do have a streaming version of your daily success calls. That's how my friends, I sent them all the link, your text message link, so that they could catch it from 8 to 8:30. And then if they wanted to continue, they could continue from 8:30 to 9, which is what I do. So there was a collaboration. You collaborated with Ashley to say, hey, can you come on and share? And it
Yep.
worked for both of you. So just in case
Thank you for reminding me of that one. And that was just 24 hours ago. And so I encourage you, like, if you guys are listening to Zelda 9, you're like, oh, it's got to be this big hard thing. It was not. It was a message. Thank you, Mark Zuckerberg, I believe on Facebook. And I had asked Ashley a question, and it was just a question. I didn't ask her, hey, can you come teach my people? I had asked her a question about something I had saw her posting because I genuinely cared. I wasn't like trying to manipulate the situation. It was an authentic, I reached out. Her and I were like, we should get on a call. Like, let's just connect. And then from there, I had asked her, it was just in a simple message. I'm like, would you come and just share with our people? I mean, it was the easiest thing. And guess what? She has messaged me now multiple times. She's like, it's just amazing how God will always bring us together, because she's been in a moment of a pause where she's been looking for her next step, right? Even though she has over 500,000 on Instagram and has had several businesses, she's like, where's my next step? And yesterday's call, it gave her an inspired idea of where she might be heading. So like, we were all connections for each other.
Isn't it beautiful how that happens? You never know. You just have to show up.
You just have to show up. Like, if you would take a moment, if everybody would just take a moment every day and get connected, whether that's on the daily success call, or maybe you do it through meditation or journaling or prayer, like, get connected and allow yourself to be guided, and you will show up to the right areas that you're supposed to be at. And then you'll be able to be your authentic self and not feel like you have to pretend to be something to get something done or manipulate a situation to get the sale. Like, if we would all just get connected first thing in the morning, I'm telling you what, the world would just change, because we would just be our authentic selves, and we'd be leading with giving and not with like judgment and small talk and criticism and all that stuff.
One of the best things I've ever gotten from you, honestly, was way back in the beginning when we started, and it was all about the Think and Grow Rich. And
Yeah.
I think actually it was even before that when you started talking about the book 10 times is better than 2 times,
10x,
like that.
10x is easier than 2x.
And so here is my takeaway on this, and I live my life with it now, which is whenever I'm stuck in a situation, I don't know how, because that's not my problem. You've taught me. Don't worry about the how. It will happen. So what I have learned to do through you is I have when I wrote my book, The Art of Bouncing Back, I wrote about these action steps for when you need to overcome obstacles. And it really ties right into that. Was I had a situation, I didn't know what to do, and I had this inner circle of girlfriends, and I was sharing with them the dilemma, and
Yeah.
I didn't know what to do. And so I freeze. When I don't know what to do, I don't do anything. And so they gave me some advice, and it was great advice. And I took their advice. And so I'm moving forward on that. I didn't know how to do it. I was just stuck. Like technology, I don't know what to do with technology. So now instead of worrying about it, I'm either going to YouTube it, or I'm
Yep.
going to Fiverr, or I'm going to ask the community of the Daily Success. Hey, does
Exactly.
anybody have any suggestions for me here? So
And isn't it amazing when like as entrepreneurs, sometimes we feel like we have to figure all of it out and we simply don't, but we do have to ask.
yes,
Like, and because sometimes we make a big thing out of nothing, and then all of a sudden you spend all of this time and energy and perhaps money, and you're like, shoot, that's not even really what I wanted.
yeah.
Right? We get so caught up. And if we could just ask, oh, I love that. And I love if there's more people in the world that could start creating communities where true connections could be happening. I mean, it would just be so amazing because somebody easily that is already in your ecosystem, is in your connection, has that thing that you're seeking for. They already have it, right?
Oh,
It's just
absolutely, absolutely. It's like, kind of like when I tell people when I'm speaking, uh, what do you like to do? Do what, like yesterday, what is fun for you? I take my dog for a walk. I met people at the dog park. They're some great friends of mine. And guess what? They send me real estate business now because we have.
right.
Do you like to play pickleball? Do you like to play tennis? Do you like to go boating? You're not the only one who likes to do those things. So you invite people and they share, and before you know it, you get to know each other very authentically, and
Yep.
and things happen, doors open, opportunities open.
I love, and one thing yesterday that Ashley said, that I feel like is so worth sharing again is don't be afraid to look at where you're at today and ask yourself, what is something that you need help with, right? So Ashley was talking about she was kind of in a lull a few years ago, and she was like, and noticed she was kind of like laying around more and just kind of in a slump, right? And so she's like, what is something I could use right now? And so then with that question, she started writing a daily inspirational book, right? So she asked herself, what could I use right now? And as she created that, then she shared it with the world. So you don't have to be so far in advance. Sometimes you just have to be willing to be the leader that's going to come up with a solution. So if you don't know tech, how many other realtors don't know tech? You could, you could literally have a tech company and not know tech because there's so many people out there that don't know tech, right? It's always the entrepreneur though has to be the leader in it. You don't need to know it. You just have to be the leader who's willing to at least jump. Jump and get it.
Person, I need a marketing person. You don't have to do it's like you and when I'm hiring people, I hire people for where I don't have any clue how to do those things, so I hire somebody to do those. That's what they know.
Yep. Let people be. Yes, I love it.
So we're coming to the end of our time here, but I do like to ask some final questions. And
Yeah.
one of them I like to ask is, and this should be an easy one for you, Carey, is what is, if you had to pick one, okay, just one, what would be your favorite book that you read?
Uh, well, I've read thousands. I'm a book person, so gosh,
Maybe it's one that you've read several times over because you just love it so much.
right now, I will tell you, I'm gaining the most connection and grounding in life. And you know this, in the Bible. I've never read that book. I'm day 61 in. I am just finding so much grounding and truth in that book. So I'll say that book for right now.
And I'm learning the Bible through you.
It was that how many of us are learning, and actually that why Ashley Casey and I connected is she was highlighted something from her Bible reading and I had a question on, right? So like it's right. It's all
Yeah.
connected.
It's absolutely amazing how these connections work and how
Yep.
you grow from your connections. And that's when you're stuck. That's what your connections are all about, to help you get unstuck without you
Right.
even knowing it. So
Yes.
how does someone get in touch with you? Because we know we're not going to email you.
Thumbs down. That was me. Sorry.
What's happening? I'm not doing it. How does someone reach you or join your daily success mastermind group every morning? And it's Monday
Yeah.
through Friday, not on the
Yep.
weekends.
I know, even though we have been asked to go live on the weekends.
I'm
So
sure
we are,
you need a
you
break.
yeah, I'm like, I gotta sleep sometimes. So you can, there's two easy options. So we do the daily success call, meets Monday through Friday at 8 a.m. Eastern. We stream free, on Facebook in the free daily success call with Carey Cohill. You can watch it absolutely for free, or you can watch it on my Instagram page at Carey Cohill. Will we have any links to share with people?
If you send that to me and someone wants one of your links, I'm happy to do that. And when we, I'll ask my producer to add that to the.
So there's that way, or you could easily come if you wanted to come be a guest with Zelda or a guest with me and actually be a VIP, or it's just an area we stream about 15 to 20 minutes free, right? Because we want to give as much value, but then in VIP, we turn off the stream and allow ourselves to honestly take our masks off and ask questions, go deeper. A lot of our members are our clients are the ones that are doing the talking. But it allows us to go deeper together in a safe way. So that's what we call VIP. And if you want information on it, all you have to do is type in the word text, TEXT, just like a text message, text careyc.com. So TEXT, Carey is CAREY, C, so careycohill.com. So text careyc.com and we'll send you the link.
And I will, and if you can't find it that way, reach out to me and
Yeah.
and I'm happy to share that because I absolutely every morning when I can't see that show, I am upset with myself because it's my inspiration. It gets me motivated every single day. So
Oh,
yeah.
so good. So
Carey,
good.
thank you so much. And as we wrap up today, this episode of Success Through Connections, just remember that success is not a solo journey. It's something that takes more than one person. So cherish your network and cultivate meaningful relationships and keep building those bridges to success, one person at a time.
So good.
It's time. Zelda with Success Through Connections.